In this episode, we are summarizing the second episode from Season 4 of the Wire series titled Soft Eyes. The episode first aired on September 17, 2006. In the beginning, Herc is looking for his Lieutenant Hoskins and accidentally walks into Mayor Royce's office while he is receiving profoundly affectionate kisses from his secretary. Herc is shocked and ends up running out. He asks Detective Carver for advice on what he should do on the matter, and Carver suggests Herc should speak to Major Stanislas Valchek. Later on, we see Herc meets with Valchek at the docks, Valchek assuring him that the recent incident will work in his favor if he stays quiet. Valchek predicts Herc's future promotions under Royce and advises him on using his knowledge strategically. Herc worries about a potential midnight shift punishment, but Valchek encourages him to use the dirt he has on Royce if that were to ever happen. Valchek makes Herc aware of his advantageous position, suggesting that careers have been made with much less. Meanwhile, Royce is actually considering removing Herc from his security detail entirely and ends up checking up with his chief of staff, Coleman Parker, to ask him about any and all of Herc's potential connections within the department. As we catch up with Namond, we see he and his mother, Delonda, visit his father, Weebay, in prison. Weebay checks that they are still receiving financial support from Brianna Barksdale, and he goes on to ask about his pet fish. Namond assures Weebay that he has been taking care of the fish. In this scene, Weebay asks Namond about his progress working with Bodhi, and Delonda criticizes Namond's lack of effort at drug dealing as if it's a bad thing. Delonda then threatens to withhold money for school until Namond starts taking his work with Bodhi seriously. Weebay also adds the cherry on top by parroting what Bodhi said in the prior episode, that having a ponytail makes him stand out to the police and witnesses. Here the viewer sees just how trapped Namond is. Having a father like Weebay who expects him to follow in his footsteps because that is all he has ever known, and a mother who expects the exact same thing, is a tough situation to escape from. If this weren't bad enough, we see Monk handing out money on behalf of Marlo Stanfield's name. This is done by Marlo as a way of buying the loyalty of the children on the streets he controls. While he participates in the destruction of the lives of the adults in his community, he pays off the children. Namond and Michael meet up with their friends to discuss going back to school. Monk hands out money, but Michael refuses the cash. Marlo steps in and questions Michael about refusing the cash, but Michael remains silent, stares back, and walks away. Later, the friends talk about their luck. Namond, despite his family being well off, says he needs money for school clothes as his mother threatened to withhold it. They encounter their friend Donut in a stolen SUV, and they joke about what to steal next. Carver notices them but decides not to chase them down since he knows who they already are. Back at the homicide unit, Bunk is looking for Lex, a suspect in Fruit's murder. He goes to Lex's parents' house, pressuring his mother about his whereabouts. Bunk clarifies that he is not interested in Lex's drug dealing, but that he's wanted for a homicide. Bunk thinks Lex has run away from the police. Bunk then goes on to talk with colleagues Ed Norris and Vernon Holly about interviewing Lex's parents. Norris takes the call, and there happens to be a shooting over a drug dispute. Holly joins Norris at the scene, where the victim, though alive, couldn't identify the shooter. Later, Norris discovers the victim was a witness in a drug case. Excited about the high-profile case and overtime, he discusses it with Sergeant Jay Landsman, who instructs him to downplay the witness angle and recommends he take as much overtime as he needs to solve the case. Landsman informs Valchek about the dead witness as soon as Norris leaves the office. Remember, I am summarizing this entire series, as well as other popular works of literature, movies, and TV shows. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode or series. If you would like to see the playlist of our summaries, click on the links in the description. I have them below. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Click like on the video if you found it valuable, because that really helps YouTube recommend it to viewers like you. Consider supporting us on Patreon. If you can also just buy us a coffee. Doing this helps my channel out tremendously. I really thank you for your support. Detective Freeman is getting ready to serve up the subpoenas he finally received on the politicians associated with the Barksdale organization. We see Detective Sidnor is concerned that this act may cost them their careers, and Assistant State's Attorney Perlman says she feels the same way. Perlman knew there was an upcoming election, but now regrets not consulting her superiors before proceeding to get the subpoenas ready for Freeman. Freeman, of course, disagrees with Perlman, but she explains how after every election cycle, the outcomes greatly impact her career, and how she could easily be demoted if the wrong candidate wins. Freeman insists they push forward and serve the subpoenas they have while the politicians are preoccupied with the election cycle itself. Once the subpoenas are sent out, Irvin Burrell finds out and fears losing his job. After speaking with Rawls, they determine that the subpoenas likely came from Freeman since he has a history of pushing against politicians. Later on, we see Cuddy at his boxing gym. He trains Justin, who has an upcoming fight. The gym has become popular, the equipment has improved, and it now houses a team of boxing trainers. A group of women waiting for their sons to finish training are present. Sharon Jones, the mother of Cuddy's student Spider, walks up to Cuddy and offers him a dinner date. Sharon also makes it very clear to Cuddy that she is much more than available, if you know what I mean. In another scene, we see Prez is starting his new teaching role at a public school in Baltimore. Prez Belusky cleans up his classroom. Later, in a meeting with fellow teachers, they discuss maintaining consistent class rules, and some of the rules include ensuring double-spaced work so they can read what the students are actually writing, using consistent headings, and keeping windows closed in order to promote drowsiness to keep the students manageable. Valchek heads to visit Carcetti during his campaign preparation to inform him about a recently murdered witness, knowing Carcetti can use it in the debate. Carcetti's team watches the debate on TV and is impressed with his answers, especially his response to Royce's claim that crime is down in Baltimore. Cuddy is seen in bed with a woman, briefly watches, and then turns over, showing just how disconnected the political world is from the minds of those it affects the most, even those giving back to their community. During the debate, Carcetti reveals the murdered witness as his finishing blow against Royce. Detectives in the homicide unit joke about Norris's case making headlines. State Delegate Watkins likes Carcetti's speech. In the end, the audience applauds Carcetti's answer, while Burrell and Rawls worry about the potential backlash for their failure to inform the mayor about the witness who was murdered. That was episode number 39, titled Soft Eyes. To watch the next or previous episode summary, click on the link in the description or at the end of this video. In the description, you will also find additional links for supporting this channel. I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.